Hey, Rambo World Entertainment, and we know Superman has a lot of pressure on its shoulders coming out in July. The fact that it's basically the beginning of the end for DCU under James Gunn, because if that movie fails, that's it. It's all over. It's game over. Pack it up, go home, because there's nothing going to be left to see there. We're hearing now the suggestion that it may not just be carrying the burden of the DC moving forward, but the overall structure of Warner Brothers Discovery itself. That's right, they're actually putting the future of the company on the shoulders of Superman's success.
Boy, that escalated quickly.
Talk about insane pressure. And we're going to have a look at this article now. It goes over a lot of stuff in here, including the screw-ups, how some of these screw-ups came about, and an interesting move for one of those CCU people. So let's have a look at this, because it's quite interesting. But it says, Mike DeLuca and Pam Abdi's stint as Warner Brothers Pictures co-chiefs has been a disaster. Outside of the odd hit like Barbie, the studio continues to release movies that regularly underperform, with Mickey 17 the latest example. The only good thing, by the way, I've heard about Mickey 17 is Robert Pattinson. Everything else in that movie I've heard just sucks. The story apparently falls apart when he's not on screen, and Mark Ruffalo apparently is insufferable in the movie. But this continues. Joker Folie à Deux was another colossal mistake, with Warner Brothers Discovery CEO David Zaslav looking to cut costs and make movies on the cheap. Luca and Abdi allowed Todd Phillips to essentially rip them off for $200 million so he could shoot a lavish sequel meant to satisfy his and Joaquin Phoenix's desire for a musical. And of course, the movie was an absolute colossal disaster at the box office. And what did everyone say when it came out? Where is $200 million on that screen? There was literally two locations in the movie, the court and Arkham. That was it. It was like, where did you spend $200 million? Well, we know Todd Phillips took half of it and Joaquin Phoenix took the other half of it. Something like $25 million each they took. So anyway, according to a new report from Puck, Zaslav, an unpopular figure in Hollywood after he scrapped movies like Batgirl and Coyote and Acme mid-production, is considering replacing Luca and Abdi. By the way, that part of them saying he's unpopular because he scrapped these movies, no, apparently he's unliked in Hollywood because apparently he might be a MAGA supporter. You know how they feel about that. Don't know whether that's true or not, but either way, they don't particularly like him. So it's saying as well, one top contender is DC Studios co-CEO Peter Safran, meaning James Gunn would be left as the sole head of the studio. Bad move all around, by the way, if you ask me, which we'll come back to. So beyond that, it appears the pressure is on Superman to be a hit, as it's now described as having an almost incalculable importance to Warner Brothers Discovery. The report explains that there's a genuine fear Warner Brothers could go the way of 20th Century Fox, a studio scooped up by Disney when it was no longer sustainable for it to exist on its own. According to one studio veteran, an essential element of the stock price is believing that the IP of DC is meaningful. David Zaslav bet big that they can show the world that the DC IP can have real value. Superman is the first movie that will set the tone. They have a tremendous amount riding on it. Up until this point, we've all very much believed that if Superman flops, DC Studios is in trouble. In reality, if Gunn's reboot underperforms, the studio as a whole could be in jeopardy. And it kind of goes on about fatigue and blah blah blah. Now, the part where I was talking about it sounds like a bad move to have Safran move to be kind of the head of, or at least the chief of Warner Brothers production, and James Gunn on his own over on DC. Safran is not a good pick. He's not even a good pick or even fit for DC. Remember, this is the guy who refused to get rid of Ezra Miller. Not just for The Flash, but also for Fantastic Beasts. This is also the guy who played a hand in getting rid of Johnny Depp. And this is also the guy who refused to remove and get rid of Amber Heard. In fact, his exact statement regarding the petition to get her removed out of Aquaman 2 was, "We don't bow down to fan pressure." That's the guy you're talking about here. So keeping him in DC was never a good move. But to actually put him in a massive position, like being one of the heads of Warner Brothers in total, is a horrendous idea. As is then leaving James Gunn in 100% control of DC, because we're already seeing what a disaster his DC is. He has no idea what he's doing. He is in way over his head. The fact that he's like, we're going to make this, and this, announces it all, and now has to come out and go, well, actually, we're probably not making that, and we can't crack the stories for that, and these ones definitely aren't happening, and all this stuff, and it's like, wow. But the fact that they're saying the entire studio's future is make or break on Superman, now, that is a bit of a stretch. Let's get that clear. Now, Warner Brothers is in debt by a lot. They are something like 50 billion in debt. And that was when Zaslav took over. So I would assume that has risen quite a lot with the amount of flops they've put out. I mean, 6 DC movies in a row were flops. 6 of them. Keep that in mind. That's not small with the amount of money they pumped into them things. That is insane to think of the amount of money they've lost on 6 DC movies in a row. And now you're going to have to try and get people and convince people to go and watch and give Superman a chance. When that trailer was mixed reactions, they're trying to say, oh, it was so well received. It wasn't well received. Just because it got so many views doesn't mean it was well received. The majority of people went, yeah, it doesn't look great, but it doesn't look terrible. That was the majority take on that trailer. Now we're hearing screen tests were had, that they didn't go well. There's some saying, oh, it's tremendously good, while others are saying it's actually terrible. We know they're going for reshoots on it. All of this type of stuff is happening. There seems to be an unrealistic amount of pressure on Superman. We know it's the fate of DC moving forward. Is it actually going to have to bear the brunt of carrying the pressure of, hey, if this one movie fails, an entire company goes under? I don't know. But that is an insane amount of pressure. And the fact that the rollout for the promotion of this thing has not been great in any sense of the word, it would be an understatement. So we're really going to have to keep eyes on exactly what's going to happen with this. But I do think it's an unfair pressure if it was true. I don't really buy into it, the idea of the whole company of Warner Brothers, their entire fate lies on this one movie. I highly doubt that. But I can also see where it could do more damage to Warner Brothers, where investors are like, we're not investing more if this is the type of crap you're going to be pumping out. We'll wait and see. But that's the story doing the rounds for now, so we're really going to have to wait and see exactly what we get with this next trailer, whenever the hell they drop that. It has to be soon, so we'll see. And with that, I shall leave it there for this one. Like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. Cheers, and I'll catch you in the next one.